The lesson I'm going to show you today is a second grade lesson for symmetry, and the students after the lesson will have learned about bilateral symmetry and radial symmetry. Their project is going to be a bilateral symmetry, meaning there is one line of symmetry down the middle, and then either side is a mirror image of each other. So the first step, all you're going to need, I guess I'll tell you your materials first. Just a regular white piece of construction paper, nothing fancy. A pencil, preferably not a mechanical pencil, a real lead pencil, and preferably a good pencil. You need the lead to be nice and dark. So sometimes those kind of inexpensive pencils with characters and stuff on them, they don't have the best lead. So, but most of the teachers and kids should have this type of pencil. So that, a black oil pastel or crayon. You could use a dark color as well. I prefer the black. I just like the look of the black. I prefer the oil pastel, but I know sometimes the kids don't love the oil pastels. The crayon would work as well. And then a paintbrush, a bowl of water, and then paints. And if you notice my paints, I have just some bright colors. I happen to have these neon colors. Regular colors will work fine. This just happens to be what I had. If you notice on my plate here, I don't have any brown or any black. Especially the younger grades, I find that if you give them brown or black, their entire picture ends up brown, black, gray, and a big muddled mess. So I recommend only giving them the colors. And then at the very end, if they have a spot that they really want to be brown, you could give them a little squirt of brown at the end. But you'll often find they'll be fine with just the colors. So that is all you need for the project. So the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna fold the paper in half, and the students can do this. It doesn't have to be perfect, it needs to be pretty close. And give it a good crease because you're gonna continue folding it back and forth. And then what you're gonna do is they're gonna only work on the right side of the crease. So this side, they're never gonna write on this side with the pencil. So they're gonna make a butterfly, and they should all be able to make the basic outline of a butterfly. So I'm gonna do the body, an antenna, and then I'm gonna make a wing. Encourage and remind them to really fill up this side of the paper. Sometimes they like to do things really small in the middle. So remind them to make it nice and big. And I'm gonna put an eye and a little smiley face. So the next thing that you're gonna do is these lines that they just drew, they're gonna take their pencil and they're gonna go over them really dark. And this is something they tend to write really dark anyway. So, but really kind of go back and forth and get it nice and dark, and do it over all of your lines. So I've gone over those lines, they're nice and dark. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fold my paper over, and I'm gonna take my pencil on the side and I'm just gonna rub. And you don't have to go crazy, just make sure you get all the spots. And when you open it up, you have the outline of the butterfly on the other side. So it's kind of fun, and I think once they see how it works, they'll think it's pretty cool. So then the next thing you want to do is, now you're going to want to put some details in the butterfly wing. So I'm just going to add some quick details. Let's see. And they can do whatever details they want in their butterfly. And if you want, they can do a couple details and then go over them really dark, just like they did the outside of the wing. They can do this in several steps, or they can just do all of the inside details, then trace them over. It doesn't matter. Sometimes by doing it like little pieces at a time, their hand gets less tired from scribbling and pushing hard, and they get a little bit of a result as they go instead of waiting till the very end. And sometimes that helps them to keep going. Oops, I went out of the line, no big deal. So just cover over everything really dark, and then do the same thing. Rub over what you just did. And they can go over the whole paper, it doesn't really matter. and then open it back up, and the design is there again. So then just continue doing more designs. And there I have my whole butterfly and the designs. It's all on both sides now. So it's kind of cool how that works. I think they'll like to see how that goes. So then the next step that you're gonna do is with your black crayon or pastel. And like I said, it can be any color. I prefer black, but at least a dark color. So now you're just gonna trace over all the lines on both sides. So I'm just gonna trace over. So this will be the first time that they're actually writing on the left side. Okay, so now I've traced over the whole butterfly. One thing just real quick, if they've traced with their pencil and then they've rubbed it and it doesn't seem dark enough, they can trace over it again, flip and rub it again, and it'll eventually get there. So I've traced my butterfly, and you have a couple options here. You could just have them color it with pastels, crayons, whatever. It's fine, but if you let them paint, they love to paint. It's not something they get to do every day, and it turns out really cool. So by doing it with oil pastel or crayon, what it does is it makes it so that you can go right over. They don't have to be quite as neat in those lines. They can go right over the outline, and it still looks fine. So I'm just going to, I'm not painting I'm trying to be quick. So hopefully they're a little bit more careful. So what I would have them do is I would have them paint one thing on the right side, and then immediately go paint the exact same thing on the left side, because they want to remember that they're trying to make this symmetrical. So everything should be exactly the same on the right side and the left side. So anything they do on the right side, they need to copy that on the left side. So there's my finished butterfly. It is all done. If they finish early, you could have them paint the background if you want. It's totally up to time. Sometimes you have kids that are super fast, and then you can give them something else to do. But if they just get to the butterfly, that is fine. So that is the finished product for second grade symmetry.